Okay, here we are. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Book Talk with Dr. B, where stories become movements and authors step into their legacy. Now, I'm Dr. B, founder of B Global Publishing, and I want to start with this. You are one decision away from becoming an author. Not someday, not when life slows down, not when everything is perfect. It's just one decision. That's it. So today you're going to see what the decision looks like in real life. Now, let's let me ask you something. How many of you have said, I want to write a book, but you haven't even started? Yeah, you're not alone. There's many people just like you at this time. Most people don't fail because they don't have a story. They stop because they don't have a system. Now, today I'm going to introduce to you someone who didn't stay stuck in that space. She made a decision, she moved, and she created. And it is my honor to introduce to you Annette Garcia.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy, Annette.
Oh,
So, Annette, you know what? Annette didn't even write just one book, not one book. She decided when I said, Annette, we need to also write a children's book. So she's dared to say yes to not only one book, but to two books. And we launched them in January, right?
yes,
Annette?
yes.
Yes. So, you know what I love about Annette is this, that she just didn't write with the book. She wrote two. She said yes. And she didn't even hesitate. Like she actually, her thing, and she's gonna tell you in a minute, is technology. But with AI, Annette, it has made it so much easy for you, right, to write the book.
Yes.
And I think it was fun for both of us, right? Like diving deep and creating images and pictures and but anyways, let's get to the book. Who's the net beyond the pages, and what led you to say, I'm ready to write my story?
Well, it's something I had thought about probably for the last 5 years and something I really wanted to do. And one day I sat down with a priest from the church and we were talking, and I just said, I'd like to write a book in memory of my dad. I said, because he was an awesome father and an awesome man, and they just don't make men like that anymore. I said, well, what are you waiting for? I said, I don't know. So I went home and I thought about it for a while, and then I started thinking. And thank God a friend of mine introduced me to Dr. B, Miss Angie here. I was a place in my life where I needed to heal. And I felt by writing the book and telling my story, I could heal. And hopefully, if I can give a little something back to someone and tell everybody the life that I lived, the life that going through, and like you said, also we're leaving a legacy, and I'm leaving it for my daughter, for my grandchildren, and so they'll know who their grandfather was.
I love that. And not only like show one of your books, and let's start with one of them, and let's start talking about your dad's legacy. Because yes, you are healing, you're talking about why you wrote it, but it's really about your dad's legacy, right? Marking the world and leaving his legacy behind for years and generations to come.
Yes.
And so show the first book, and let's start talking about that one.
So this one is a man with a so special. I was that girl, the lucky He was just a go-getter and a helper, and wherever you needed him, he was there, And
Mm-hmm.
I had a brother, Jimmy, and Jimmy and I were, I mean, our dad was, he was just something else. He was just there for us. He did, when we were young growing up, he worked quite a bit. So, but he always made sure on special holidays, whatever, he was always there for us. And then as we did grow up and we started family vacations and stuff, the memories, I mean, those will last so many memories, so many little stories that I could tell you about dad, that so innocent at heart. He was just the good man.
Yeah, I mean, when you're writing the story and I'm editing and I'm looking at your dad, I mean, he sounded like a remarkable man. He was loved by many. He was loved by your family members and his workers and your friends, because even Jimmy and him, and in the book, as you're writing that, he loved when you're watching movies. You talk about that you would invite friends over, you're watching movies, and then Jimmy and him would turn off the lights
Yeah,
on you all
yeah.
to scare you. And he made it fun and
Right.
entertaining.
Right. Yeah, the neighborhood kids always knew weekends were our weekends to come to the house to watch a movie that dad would put on the big screen for us, and we'd all sit around and watch the movie, and a lot of times it was a scary one, and Jimmy and dad were in on it, and it's like Jimmy would be watching and screaming at dad, "Dad, it's time," and then there would go the lights and we'd all scream and holler, and it's just those memories that I think nowadays that a lot of children don't have anymore. They miss out on that. It's just back in those days it was family time. Now it's telephone time and other times, and it's just the good old days that family was there and family was everything.
Yeah, and you know what? That's when you're reading this book, for those of you that are getting the book or have bought the book, it's about a story of a man with a big heart, and he was a giver. He never really thought much about himself in the sense of, I'm not going to give because I'm not going to have later, right? He was a giver. And when Annette writes the story, she writes on how he has apartment complexes, and when they didn't have money, he would say, "Oh, it's okay. You can pay me later." But Annette, who does that,
Yeah.
right?
Not many people. And I remember my dad telling stories, and he'd come home, and mom would say, "Oh, Ernesto, did you get the rent today?" "No, Ann, we didn't get it today. Mrs. So and so lost her job, and I don't know what all." And, "Well, when are you going to get the rent?" "Well, tomorrow, the next day." "Ernesto, are you running some type of charity?" And he would just laugh, and he's like, "Don't worry, Ann, the money will come." And God always provided, and the money did come. And that
Mhm.
was one lesson that I learned from my dad. As I inherited his properties, I try and give people the benefit of the doubt. And if you're honest with me and you tell me, "Hey, I lost my job, I have a family member that's sick, something tragic has happened," I'm going to wait for you, because I believe in kindness, I believe in God, and I believe that the moral thing to do. And that's what he taught me, give people the benefit of the doubt. And most of the time, they always come true, and they'll pay you. It might be a little late, but it's okay. They had their problems, and it's okay. So he was always like that, giving and stuff. And I remember when Lori was a little girl, and he'd go to pick up Lori after school, and he would like not really fight me on it, but it was like, "Okay, Dad, I'll get her to." "No, you're not. No, 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 no. It's my turn to go get her, and I'm gonna go pick her up." And so all the kids at school were like, "Oh my God, Lori, you're the luckiest little girl. Grandpa comes and gets you every day." And if Lori wanted a snack after school, they went and got their snack. So she was just so lucky. The other thing that was amazing about my dad, since we live on the border in Nuevo Laredo 20 years ago, you could go over there with no problem. So that we had carnivals and circuses that would come to town, and dad would be the first one to go try them out. And if it was a good carnival or a good circus, then he would invite all the neighborhood, the housekeepers, anybody who wanted to go. "Okay, Sunday, meet us." 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm buying tickets for everybody. And there we would all go. But again, those were memories. Those were just, I mean, who does those things? Dad did, you know? He thought about everybody, you know?
Yes, yes. I mean, he had a beautiful heart. He was a giver. You
Yes,
know, he did charity.
yeah,
He loved traveling. So
yeah,
when you're reading the book, you talk about, his adventures where he went to Disney, he went to the circus, and you say that first he would go to the circus to see if it was a good deal, and
yeah,
then he would bring everybody to it.
yeah.
So he seems so much fun and entertaining. Um, on how you as a family also spend time at the ranch, and how he even gained a lot of skills during the years in real estate and starting growing not only his skills but growing the generational wealth, the money making, because he knew that he had to take care of his family, and then he passed it on to you, and you continue that legacy on growing the business part of it, which is amazing.
I remember
You
when
go ahead. Mhm.
we were little, Angie, how Dad did it all. His apartments, he cleaned, he swept, he mopped, he painted, he fixed toilets, he name it. He worked in the yard. And there's always really fun, cute stories because he's out like working in the yard, working really, really hard. And people would go, Senor, Senor, sir, sir. And he'd like, yes. How much do you charge to do the yard? And he would just laugh and he would say, I don't work for other people. This is my property and I'm cleaning and working, but they always wanted to hire Dad. So
you
he,
know
as a little girl, he made Jimmy and I paint and clean and do. And it got kind of cute as he got older. He had a toolbox, and I'll never forget that it was a blue toolbox. And he would have family and cousins. Hi, Ernesto, you think you can come help us? There's a problem with the toilet. Oh, yes, I'm coming right now. Let me get my toolbox. And he man fix anything.
I know. And that's what I love about books. And that's what I love about your book. Annette's book, it's not just a story, it heals. It helped her heal. It's going to help many of you heal. It's going to give you a lot of teaching or teachable moments. And it's going to reach many of you in so many ways, in the business aspect, in the family aspect, and the humanitarian aspect, the traveling. If you're a traveler, you're going to connect with him, you're going to be able to relate with him. And not only did she write a memoir, but we turned it into a children's book, right, Annette?
Yes,
And it was really faster than you think. So
yes.
if those of you that are contemplating on writing a book and you're like, oh my God, I've been thinking about this for years. Well, she wrote two books, almost what, in 2 months per se?
Maybe about three. About three. Yes.
About 3 months. But
Yeah.
the children's book was pretty fast.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't think we have time. I'm like, yes, we do. So it was like in a week, I think.
Yes. Yes, we will.
So I kind of encourage people to do crazy things and really motivate you, inspire you to get it done and do it. And I know that Annette, I had a Live and Beautiful at that time, and Annette was a little worried because she saw me so busy, and we had a deadline. But yeah, we got it done. I told her, don't worry, we're gonna do it.
Yes, we did. And even after all of that, we even had time to go out and venture to Dallas. And we did, and we had a good time.
Yes, yes, we had an amazing time.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's talk about your children's book a little
Yeah.
bit, because your children's book is still about the legacy. It's still about marking the world with Papoose. We call him Papu in the book because Lori, your daughter, named him that when she was growing up. And in this children's book, we're talking, and the moral of the story is not just leaving a legacy, but it's talking about grief, loss, and helping children to learn how to deal with the loss of someone and letting them learn that love will always continue.
Yes.
Do you want to show them the book and
Ah,
talk about it?
so this is the book. And in all honesty, I don't know which one I like better. I mean, this one is kind of like, yes, it's for children and more cartoonish, but the little stories are just, they're just, I mean, my dad had such a unique way of thinking, and it would be really funny how every now and then, and I'll tell you little stories where I'd be thinking about him, and all of a sudden the phone would ring. And I said, "Hi, Dad, I've been thinking about you." And I'm like, "Dad, do you have ESP?" And he thought for a minute. He says, "Honey, I don't think I have that channel ESP." No, Dad, it's something when you're thinking, "Oh, honey, I didn't even think," I said, "Well, I thought about you, Dad." He was just so cute, and we love our stories where we were always telling jokes, and some of them were maybe not as clean as they should have been. And we would say them, and my mother would be there, and the rest, and we'd all die laughing, and he'd just look at us. I didn't get it. We would just be like, "It's okay, Dad. You're not supposed to get it." I don't know. Sometimes our minds venture off, and we say silly things, and but that's just the way he was. He's such a good boy. He came from a family of 10. He loved his brothers and sisters. The youngest one was his sister Gloria, and Gloria and Dad were two peas in a pod, and they did everything together. When he was young growing up, he had asthma really bad, and his brothers and sisters were there. And my mom always tells stories because she met him at a very young age. The parents came from a divorce. Well, he came from a divorced family, and so now the mother's raising these 10 children, and thank God she had a little money and help and whatever. And as the children got a little older, some of them would drive, and before you knew it, all 10 were going to the beach with the neighbor kids. And she always said, "Oh my God, we just had the best time." So no, there was a lot of good times, a lot of memories. And I remember my dad growing up. My mom would also tell the story how since there was 10 children, she always had help with people helping her to cook and clean and whatever. And she said, "Oh my God, it was always a feast. The food was delicious." And she was always invited, and because Aunt Gloria was her best friend. And so she would eat there with him, and Dad would look at the food, and he'd go over to his mom. "Mom, you think I could have a nickel?" And she's like, "What do you want a nickel?" "Because I want a hamburger from down the street." But that's who he was. He was just a simple boy, a loving man, a good heart. He was that and that much more.
I love it. I love it. And Annette, what can you tell people that are thinking of writing a book, but they feel they haven't figured it out? They don't know where to start. I mean, what would you tell them?
I really thought it was going to be something hard, but when you sit down and you think about it and you do it from your heart, then that's all that matters. And then to me, during this time a few years back, I was not really in a good place. I had come out of a divorce, and I was in a very dark place. And this gave me meaning again. It gave me life again. And I would sit and I'd write and I'd cry and I would remember. And it gave me so much healing. And I hope other people would think, "Wow, maybe I can do it." Yeah, you can do it. You know why? Because I was the girl. My grammar wasn't the best. And it's funny because every now and then I'll text something to my daughter, and she already knows what I'm trying to tell her. She said, "You meant this, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, And she just laughs at me. And I'm like, and so that part of it, don't worry about. It's whatever memories you want to tell. And it's when it comes from your heart, that's the best you can do. And after doing it, I thought, well, people are going to say, "Well, you could have done this." Or, no, 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 no. I did it from my heart. I did the best I could. I thought about it. I prayed about it. And it's the best I could have done. And you know what? I am so happy. And again, I don't know, what am I more happy with, the children's book or the adult book? They're both kind of different, but they're both so cute. I mean, when Angie tells me, "Oh, we're gonna make it kind of like a child's book and make it more like character friendly," I was like, I don't know about that. And, oh my God, the pictures are darling. I mean, I couldn't have asked for better pictures. They're just precious. I mean, childlike looking. And I was just so happy to do it. I mean, it has given me what I needed. I needed that boost of confidence. I needed the to be told, you can do it, girl. And boy, I can do it. And working with Angie has been a pleasure. I don't think I could have done it with anybody else. I mean, Angie was just so patient, so kind. If that day I wasn't feeling up to it, or that day I wasn't ready, hey, we'll do it tomorrow. Don't worry, it's going to get done. So I thank you, Angie, and I mean, for the experience, for everything. It was a wonderful experience. I couldn't be happy that I did it. I am so happy that I did it.
And Annette, after we publish it, she's like, now what am I gonna do?
Yeah, what am I gonna do now?
What am I gonna do now? She's like, but for those of you that are authors and you're thinking the same thing, like, what am I gonna do now? The
Mhm.
book is not the end. The next step is having a book talk like this. So let's get in touch. Let's reach out to me. Let's have a book talk so we can get you more visibility. It brings you more speaking opportunities. You could write programs, you can have coaching, you can have mentorship with your book. You can impact the world in so many ways. You just have to think out of the box, and the book is not the ending. Now, this is where authors get stuck, right? They write the book and then they don't build around it. That's why I teach this. You don't just need a book, you need an ecosystem. So, for those of you that are looking for an ecosystem, what does that mean? It means you need a platform, you need a landing page, you need to put your book out there, you need to scale it. We need to create a lot of messages around your book. Like Annette, her message in the children's book is about grief, loss, and that love will continue no matter what and when they're gone. And then in her memoir, it's the legacy piece, the fun, the entertainment, the special moments that she spent with your dad, and the message of building that, like, healing and building that strong relationship with her dad that will continue forever. So it's building that legacy. So for those of you watching now, if something in you is saying, this is me, right? I'm ready. It's my time. Then I want to invite you to kind of stay connected with me. Send me a DM, because I also have the Authority Identity Lab, which is a membership you can join. Annette, you need to join there too,
Okay.
where I want a lot of authors, aspiring authors, to join so that we can keep impacting and inspiring other people with your message, with your book, so that we can keep it live and going. You see, a lot of times in that, people write a book and then they put it on the shelf and then they forget about it, right? And then they're like, what's next? I haven't sold a lot of books. Well, we have to create a movement. It's not just writing a book, but it's creating a movement and making it evolve, right? So if you're ready, comment below book or DM me author, and let's get your story out there. So, Annette, what's next for you? What do
That's
you want to
very-
do?
a very good question, Angie. I don't know. It's like I do a lot of praying and a lot of soul searching. I'm like, okay, God, what is next? I don't know.
Yeah. But not too long ago, you had another book launch, because we had a book launch in January and you had a
Yeah,
lot of people there.
yeah.
And then you were invited to, was it
An actual little store that we have here in Laredo. It's a woman's clothing store, and it's called Polly Adams. And I got to know the owners, Mrs. Foster and Lisa Miller. And we'd been talking about it, and Lisa and I had been comparing stories about our fathers, how they were such special men in our lives. And one day I said, well, it's done, the book. She said, well, come to the store. And I was like, really? And Mrs. Foster, yes, you have to come. So it was so nice because it was another group of ladies and friends, and at that moment and at that time we got to share our stories about our dads, and some of the other ladies a little older than I was, and they were sharing their stories of their fathers, and it was just a nice little gathering, that we could all sit around and chit chat, and so I was very honored they allowed me to come to the store and do that. So it was really, really nice.
I love it. I love it. I'm even thinking we can do a collaborative around dad stories, a short
Uh-huh.
story of all the dads, and we can put them in a book that you can create, and you can get all these, and then they can become authors. But
Yeah.
I am so happy that you said yes to writing your two books,
Yes, yes, yes.
and for your voice
Uh-huh.
and your courage. And I know that we cried and while writing it, we
Yeah.
laughed.
Yeah.
There was moments of just memories that you had and wonderings like, what do I put? What do I not put? But at the end, I think it came out really good. Both of
Yeah.
them. I congratulate you
Well,
for
thank.
the work you did because um I only guided you. You're the one with the stories. You're the one that told me the stories, and then we were putting them in a flow, and it worked out fantastic in
Yeah.
how you came up with the ideas.
Yeah. And how the timing was just right. It was like around the holidays, and I thought, is this the time? Yes, Annette, this is the time. Just do it, you know? And at the end of the story, I wanted to tell my story also at the end of Dad's life. What happened? How I said there was 10 children, but how the story went that one sister was his world, and that was his little sister, Aunt Gloria. And Aunt Gloria, at the end of her life, she ends up passing away, and Dad is now the last of 10 to live. And he called me and he was like just devastated. Everybody's gone. And I said, what do you mean, Dad? He said, we lost Gloria. She's gone. And not realizing then that within 6 months he'd be gone. And
Mhm.
what I can tell you, um, when Dad got sick, we weren't sure what it was. And he went from such an active man to doing it all, changing his oil, washing his car, you name it. And then he started having trouble walking and different little things. And we're like, something's not right. So, we took him to see doctors, and finally he got diagnosed and realized he had lymphoma. And at that point in time, there wasn't like really a whole lot left they could do. And how at the end of his life, and I'm in the room with him, and he had told me for a while, Annette, it's time for me to go. You got to let me go. And I kept saying, no, Dad, you're the only thing left that I have. Yeah,
Mhm.
I have Mom and I have my daughter, but he was just my world. And finally, at that moment, God gave me the grace to say, it's okay, Dad. Your time is now. And you're
Mhm.
to a better place than you were in. And he just, like, he amazed me. But then in there, he started talking to his sister, Gloria, that
Mhm.
passed away 6 months before. She came to take him home. And I
Mhm.
believe, I mean, I couldn't see her, but I know she was there. And I can
Mhm.
tell you they had conversations for hours. So there's hope in everything. There's hope in knowing that she took him home. And it just, at the end of the day, it gave me so much pleasure that, like, I don't know if I could have done it by myself, which I was, but I knew she was there taking him home. So it was just beautiful all around. Everything that happened and my story and everything, it was just an amazing story. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And thank you. Thank you so much for showing up today and having this book talk and sharing bits and pieces about your book. So, for those of you that are listening, go get Annette's books. We're going to put the links below. They're worth the try, especially if your children are going through some type of grief or loss. And it doesn't have to be family members, it could be pets that they're losing, it could be friends that moved away or grandparents that moved away. It's about loss and grief and helping them understand about that love continues no matter where people go and are. So get the children's book, get her memoir, and then you need to flip the script of, I think I want to write a book, and sitting on it and waiting, and I don't know what you're waiting for, but you need to write your book, build the legacy, and remember what's in you is not just for you. It's for people that are waiting for your message because you're going to inspire them, you're going to motivate them to continue and heal in a special way. So, on the book only, you can write the book that it's inside you. So again, thank you so much, Annette. I am so glad you are here today. Let me kind of so we everybody can see both of us here. I
And
kind of lost you.
yeah, I the phone rang, Angie, and I don't know what I did.
Ah,
That
okay.
apology for you, and yeah, that
It's okay. It's okay. Well, again, I want to thank everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Be blessed, be great, and be amazing. I am Dr. B and the Book Talk Live here on social media and making sure that we can impact and make a difference in people's life. I will talk to all of you later and stay tuned. Stay here with me because I'm going to be showing up